managers of these teams. Join us on the show. Talk some shit. Tell us, why they drafted this guy, why they drafted that guy. There's no holding back. We're going to roast everybody, and they're going to roast each other. So let me just introduce you to who we have on the panel right here. We've got Brian to my right, left. We got Sam below me, and then we got in the corner, we got Steven. So I think we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to go to Hunter's team. We're going to bring Hunter on. He is the defending champion.
That's right.
Of the greatest show on paper.
Yeah, we love Hunter.
Camp's in the house off the top. Let's go.
Everybody
the glazing guys.
Camp's here.
I'm so glad you paid us extra to talk good about your team, though.
Yeah, I better hear some good shit this time.
All right, so Hunter, you are the defending champion. You beat Violet. I don't know how to say his name.
Belay.
I was not even close.
Didn't even.
I beat him in the finals last year. So we did a preseason show about this league last year. We predicted your team to win. However, me and Ryan came on during the season right before the playoffs, and we predicted you to lose. So I'm just going to say our first prediction was right, and me and Ryan kind of blew it.
Yeah, we should have just stuck with the guns, man.
How'd you do it? What happened in the playoffs?
Well, I was facing what probably was the best team in the league at the time, and he had, Dak, CD, Ferguson, Achan, some other really good guys, and I think that was the week they played the Bills. The whole Cowboys offense didn't do anything, so basically his whole team was relying on them. And then I think I had like Breece Hall, and Lamar, so they both went off that week. It just kind of worked out, and then the two matchups after that were, they weren't bad teams, but they were easier teams than that. So just got a lucky week there, and then it happened from there.
So how'd you draft?
I would like to give a special shout out to Chris for dropping Isaiah Likely a few weeks, like the week after Andrews got hurt or something like that. So I picked him up.
Way to go, Chris!
Yeah, he's my starting right in. So
he
was helping me out. I paid him extra for that to do that. So
all right, enough gloating.
Okay, but on to this season. Last season,
back to 2024. 2024. So how'd your draft go?
It didn't go quite as well as some of the mocks, I was doing, but I didn't expect it to. I basically kind of did a completely different strategy than I normally do. I almost always go at least one receiver in the first two rounds, usually two receiver. But in home leagues this year, especially with the sleeper ADP, I thought there were enough values of receiver later on that I could get a couple running backs early and push the receivers. It sucks not having one of those truly elite guys, but I think the depth I got is pretty good. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my strategy, but I'll let you guys tell me what you think, because I'm sure no matter what I say, they're going to say I'm just hyping my own team. So at least if someone else is doing it, I can't be accused of it.
Well, we did put Isaiah Pacheco on the thumbnail just for you. So
yeah, just for me. Appreciate that.
You did pay us for that too, so
yeah,
we appreciate that.
All right, so Anthony Richardson.
Just skip to the end. He wins because he has Isaiah Pacheco.
That's right.
So.
That's right. So we got Anthony Richardson at quarterback. You in on Anthony Richardson this year as much as I am?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely am. I know it took him a little early there, but I was worried he'd be taken before my next pick, and I knew if I took him there, there's a chance I'd get Pitts on my next pick also, who I'm also really high on, which I know some of us are not. But yeah, I just think he has potential to – I'm not saying he will be, but I think he has potential to be the overall number one quarterback for fantasy if things break his way. In real life, I don't know how good he's going to be, but I don't really care about that. So, I'm all in for fantasy at least.
Yeah, he's absolutely got QB1 overall upside. And then, you pair that with Christian McCaffrey, who could be the RB1 again.
Hopefully, yeah.
You're in good shape there. So we got Malik Neighbors at wide receiver. Here's your wide receiver 1. What round did you get him in? Third round?
Got him at the 4th. God, I did some trades. So I didn't have – I think I had a third-round pick. I got Pacheco at 3-1, and I didn't pick again until 4-3. So, yeah, he was my wide receiver 1. Okay. A little shaky, but I do like him a lot. So
you paid a pretty penny for that CMC 101 pick.
Yeah, I traded my first 3 picks to get the 101, the 3-1, and the 5-1. So basically, I traded what ended up being picked there was Garrett Wilson, Puka, and Waddle, and I got McCaffrey, Pacheco, and Richardson. So, yeah, could go either way there, I guess.
That's not too bad on paper, though.
Depends how much you like receivers.
So Which player on your roster do you think you're like the most confident is going to end up being a great pick at the end of the year?
Based on their overall value, I don't know. I feel like Corum. Like, I know that might be a cop out. It's not even because of the punt return thing with Kyron, but I'm a Rams fan, but I don't like my bias for the Rams affect my fantasy judgment. Because if I did, I would have stuck with 10 and just taken Puka. But I think even with Kyron being healthy, he'll still have like a decent amount of work to maybe be like a flex every now and then. But obviously, if Kyron were to get hurt, he could be like a potential RB1. I think he's out of all the running backs, he really has the most to gain if the starter in front of him were to get hurt. So it definitely is contingent on an injury to really reach the max. But I think in terms of like if all these guys were to hit their ceiling, I'd say he'd probably be the best value. We'll see though.
Yeah,
I think Josh Palmer's a sneaky good value too.
Yeah, getting him at the 10th, I was pretty happy with that. He's not someone who's going to go crazy and randomly get like 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns or whatever. But arguably a wide receiver 1, at worst probably a wide receiver 2 with Herbert. And I think the whole run first offense is a little overblown because it's not like they're going to run it 90% of the time. They're still going to throw it some. Herbert's good, so he'll be he's like a decent flex option for me. I think we'll see though.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of your 2 wide receivers here, and Christian Kirk and Deontay Johnson. Christian Kirk, who we've seen have a top 14 season. Last year was on pace for that before the injury as well. Deontay Johnson, huge fan of his as well. Huge Steelers fan here. So when I think of Deontay Johnson, I think of target volume. I think of a target hog. I think of a guy who's going to be a staple for Bryce Young. And I love the Dave Canales pairing there as well. I believe the Panthers have some upside. I believe that it's going to be rough at times with a young team, but I believe Bryce Young and Deontay Johnson are going to connect early and often. I do like that there in your flex spots.
Yeah,
Bryce Young is going to benefit from a new coaching staff big time.
For sure.
We're still talking about him like he's complete garbage, and I think he's in for a big step, which means everybody around him is in for a big step too.
Just think
what I'm betting on. We'll see though. If he's trash, then I might be screwed.
I don't want to get stuck on Deontay for too long, but I think like what you saw with Adam Thielen last year with Bryce Young, you can get a similar thing going on with Deontay Johnson.
You want to know the difference? You want to know the difference? One creates separation, one does not.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Is this finally the year Kyle Pitts happens?
Yes.
If it's not, I don't know what I'm going to do because I basically have been all in on him all year. And this year it's like, hey, he probably has a quarterback, but if it can't get done this year even if Cousins gets hurt, his Penix will still be better than any quarterback he's ever had. Well, other than Matt Ryan his rookie year, but yeah, I don't know. If he doesn't this year, then I think I just got to finally be done. But because at that point, he'll have hurt me like 4 times.
Well, at least you got Taysom Hill to fall back on.
Yeah, that one was just like because I hate him as a person. I always say I don't, but in fantasy, I hate him so much. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take him this year. So that way, at least if he's screwing people over, it won't be me this time.
Yeah, honestly.
Even if it sits on my bench all year, at least if he does well, no one else could have him. That's the goal, but we'll see.
I also have Malik Neighbors as offensive rookie of the year this year, so huge on this pick as well. I've planted the flag a long time ago. Malik Neighbors is a special talent. You have him as a wide receiver 1. You may think it was a little early in the draft. I don't. Huge fan of that pick.
Yeah. Yeah, the touchdown upside I think is a little capped, obviously, because the Giants, there's the passing offense, or the touchdown equity is not going to be there. But I think he's going to get so many targets, and Dabble is smart enough to get him the ball in a good number of ways, and not just throw it deep every play. Like he can get him all over the field. So, obviously he's not as good as a Chase or a Jefferson or whatever, but I think he has potential to maybe be like a borderline wide receiver 1. I'd say that's like a ceiling probably, but probably a little lofty.
This was an in-person live draft?
Yeah, it was the first time all 12 of us were ever together. 2 of them were new, but it's the first time at any point in the league that all 12 members were there for the draft. It was a really fun time. Yeah, I'm sure a couple of them can tell you something about it too when they come on.
So when you went into the draft, was there like one particular player that you absolutely had to have on draft day? Did you get him?
Well, it was one player that I had to have, and I foolishly thought he could fall to me, but I knew that I didn't have the ammunition to trade up to get him if he didn't fall to me, and that was Achane. As you can see,
Ooh.
Nikki got him in 2.5 because on the ADP, it was like 25, 26, and the mocks I was getting him, I was like, I don't know. So I thought I could maybe try to trade up a couple picks, but that wouldn't have mattered because I could not have afforded to trade up for the 2.5 after I already traded up for the 1.1. So this wasn't going to work out, but I'm still trying to trade for him. See if I can make something work.
Make that work. Him and McCaffrey have a chance to be. I mean, this ceilings is insane. I like A-Chain if he can be the guy there and have Raheem Mostert like kind of fall out of that role finally.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be special for A-Chain. What did he average, like over 7 yards per carry last year?
Yeah, something crazy.
So he's just a walking first down, basically.
And then out of the guys I actually did get, Richardson was my second in terms of like I really want to have this guy. If I didn't get him, I was going to try to get Kyler Murray, but I was able to get him, thankfully. I do like Kyler a lot, but Richardson, like in terms of all the quarterbacks, I thought he was like my favorites. It's kind of hard to call him a value when he's like the 5th quarterback off the board, or no, 6th, but no, yeah, okay, 6th. But either way, I was pretty big on him this year. So
I don't want to gloss over T. Higgins being in there too. You're talking about a guy who's not going to get a contract from Cincinnati, so he's playing out his contract, and he wants to hit the big payday. He wants to be paid like a wideout one. So if he stays healthy, and actually Jamar staying healthy across from him is important, and obviously Burrow. It seems like we're always talking about health with Cincinnati. But if you saw the first year that Jamar was there, Higgins really shone, and he's just had kind of some bad luck the last 2 years, just getting dinged up and stuff like that. But he has the potential to be a wide receiver 1 on a fantasy squad.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be really nice for me, obviously, and he pretty up and down the last year for the most part, but he did come through for me in the playoffs when I need him. So if he can do that for me again this year, that'd be nice. But I thought it was pretty good value because, I mean, obviously in best ball, no matter what platform he's on, he's going like in the 40s just about every round or every draft. And home league is obviously a little different, but I thought getting him in the 6 was pretty solid value.
Yeah, I agree.
So what team in this league, other than yours, do you think has the best chance to win the championship?
I'd say probably Nikki. Either Nikki or one of the guys you're going to talk about here in a minute is Karthik. He's the one talking in the chat just a minute ago. But I'd say that they both have a better team than me. And John, I think, also has a really strong team. I wouldn't argue if you said he has a better than mine too. But I think I have like a pretty solid team. But I'd say those 3 are probably like the top 3. I'd say Nikki's like the number 1 though.
Yep, John is my favorite team in the league that I was able to view.
Yeah, I mean he's got a good squad, pretty balanced everything.
Who are the worst?
Nikki is Veni Vici.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what'd you say, Alex? Who's the worst?
Who had the worst pick in the draft?
Oh, the worst pick? I mean, if you look at the draft where I feel like, probably Goff in the 6th round. I mean, either that or Kamara in the 2nd. Like, they're both pretty bad. And Fryermuth in the 7th. Like, those 3 from Roshan, it was so funny. Like, I put in the notes, but, like, he took Kamara in the 2nd round, and everyone was just like, what the fuck? What? No. And some people were like, no, he can't do that. Like, you have to, like, make him do a different pick. And some of us were like, if he wants to pick it, let him pick. So they removed him from the board. They said, all right, you get one more chance to pick someone else. And he just picked him again. And it was like, what the fuck? It was so funny, though. But, yeah, probably Goff just because, like, he's a pocket passer who's never going to, like, have a huge weekly ceiling. I don't know. I'd say probably that, yeah. It was just funny because Karthik was talking about, he's wanting to get him in the later rounds because he has Amon-Ra. And then he basically was like, well, fuck Karthik. I'm just going to take him now.
Yeah, that's a catastrophic pick.
Yeah.
All right. Before we end with your team, do you have any trash talk for your league mates?
Let them have it, man. Go ahead.
I don't know if I have any trash talk specifically, but just think some people.
What about Chris? I don't like Chris.
I don't think anything else is left to be said at this point. I let my play do the talking, and he knows that. So
Good man.
But
Keep balling, Hunter. Keep balling, baby.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Look forward to listening to the rest later.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
All right, take care, Hunter.
Appreciate you. Have a good one.
Yep.
All right, so that was Hunter.
Yeah, I
So-
didn't have the heart to tell him his team's awful. I'm just kidding. I kid.
Hey, there's
I
truth in
like-
every
I
joke.
actually do like
That's
his
what they
team. I do
say,
like his
right?
team. Anthony Richardson, Christian McCaffrey. That is what they said. All right, so let's move on to the next team. We're gonna go to Wes.
Wes doesn't like Chris either.
What did Chris
said
do
it
to
in
these
the chat.
guys?
He
Jesus.
said it in the chat, right, Wes?
Yeah.
I can't add him. I don't know what's going on.
He's here.
Thank you for full identifying yourself as your team name and your name down there. I appreciate that.
Never mind.
What
He's
the
not
fuck?
here.
All right, see you, Wes.
All right, bye, Wes. Guess I'll see you later, bud.
Oh,
Hi,
hey, it's
Wes.
Wes.
Jesus.
The host got to learn how to pick the buttons, you know.
I think it's my end. I'm having slow internet issues here.
Yeah. Blame it on the internet, per usual.
All right. Well, I think Wes is in here. I can't see him, but can you guys see him?
He's here. He's
Yeah,
here.
he's here.
Let it roll, baby. Let it roll.
What's up, Wes? How you doing?
Man, I love that song.
I really think we're about to lose Alex.
Yeah, I think we're getting close.
Yeah, we're about to lose. Well, he's recuperating real quick. Can you explain to me the team name? What's going on here?
Yeah, so Sam was right. It's je ne sais quoi. I don't even know what it means. I don't know French. I wanted to find a way to get two players in the same team name. Last year I was full Chubb Taylor's version because I had Jonathan Taylor, so it was just kind of an easy way to loop that back in. But yeah, like a lot of these guys are still trying to pick their team names and they're getting ragged on their team name being bad. I had this pick and my logo made by the time I had my third pick. So I was on top of it, and it's hard to see in the ESPN, but my logo is actually Taylor Swift with Saquon's face. So
Love that.
Just while I was bored waiting from 2-1 to 3-12, I was able to get all that done.
Off the record. I've only met 5 people that are gingers. This is a monumental moment in my life.
Where is this going?
Come on, Steve.
I'm saying that's awesome.
We came here to roast his fantasy team.
How do I roast his team? He has the second best fucking team in the league. How do I roast his
I
team?
mean, we can't say that yet. We got to go through the team. But I mean, if we're talking,
I've looked at every roster 15 goddamn times.
Honestly, Hunter didn't mention it. Glad you're hearing everything. This is the team I'm going to glaze the most. This is probably my favorite team.
Yeah, this is definitely
honestly.
one. You were John Aiken, 100%.
Yeah. I kind of just took my time and just kind of let people fall to me. I think that was kind of my goal here. And a lot of the mocks I did, that's kind of all you can really do in the 12 spot. Having to deal with a turn is just kind of letting things fall to you. So I really just wanted either Taylor or Barkley, hoping at least one of them fell to me. I was surprised by the Marvin Harrison Jr. pick, so that means I got both of them because people go pretty heavy in wide receiver in this league sometimes. So
For sure.
I figured I could get that advantage at running back, and it kind of set off that second round where everyone suddenly needed a running back before they went off the board. So I think that kind of helped me get a lot of value throughout the draft here.
Yeah. So my first question to you is: I know that historically Saquon has a pretty solid receiving profile, but the Philadelphia Eagles don't really profile as a team. They like to dump off to the running backs. So between Saquon, JT, and Gibbs, what was the thought process of going back-to-back Saquon, JT instead of Gibbs?
I didn't really like the way that, Montgomery still figures into the lion's share there. I feel like Barkley is going to be the guy, obviously, in Philly. I feel, having a running back of his, caliber, they're going to be more willing to change the offense around a little bit and get him the ball how he, likes to receive the ball. So it wasn't really too much of a concern. It was more so getting guys who should be getting the touchdowns, and kind of just leaning on that and the fact that, if someone else is running it in, it's because they've either, just run 50 yards down the field, needed a break or something like that. There's not going to be any sort of, switching in and out there with those guys.
Okay. I like the answer. It's cool. I just know that a lot of us have talked about Jahmyr Gibbs as a possible Alvin Kamara type prototype. We've seen Alvin Kamara dominate fantasy football in a limited role. So I didn't know what your thought process was. The last thing I want to say about your team, I noticed that you didn't rush to grab a QB2 while you were filling your spots, you were filling your team. A lot of people rushed at a QB2, and I felt like they rushed at they paid a 4th-round pick for Lamar Jackson, but then they go pay an 8th-round pick for Dak Prescott. To me, in a redraft league, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm glad you didn't do that because there's still a lot of QBs available for you to stream when that time comes. So I just want to say kudos to you. And you got the Rams wide receiver 1 in the 4th round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Part of the quarterback thing for me as well was I in most of my mocks, I was able to get Jaden Daniels in like the 10, 9th round, 10th round, somewhere down there. So when he got picked there in the 7, I was kind of shocked. So I went ahead and just picked a good quarterback there. I think Joe Burrow is someone who is, kind of being underrated a little bit. I think there's a chance he can bounce back. He's someone I could probably ride almost the entire year. So that's why I wasn't pressed in getting a second quarterback there. So yeah, I mean, it kind of falls into the getting value, when he's there, and then after him, it's Dak, it's Jordan Love, it's Caleb Williams, it's Tua. I felt like the gap there was big enough for me to want to make that jump, kind of similar to Kittle in the 5th, that jump between him and Ingram and Freiermuth and Njoku. I felt like it was the right time to kind of go in those positions. But yeah, I wasn't too pressed about quarterbacks, knowing that there's just so many solid quarterbacks that could be taken later on.
Right. The other thing I noticed about this team, and I like the moves, people might not do it, but you added 2 receivers here that had significant value added to their wide receiver room. DJ Moore saw Keenan Allen, and we saw how Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua worked out last year. They're falling down boards a lot. Do you think that's something you took advantage of and kind of let them fall to you? And do you feel comfortable going into the season with those 2 guys?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was one of those things where, I was going to be stuck with receivers around this area, knowing that I was probably going to running back. DJ Moore is a guy who usually fell to me, and I covered the University of Maryland as well. So no secret there. I kind of like, getting a tarp if I can. But yeah, I mean, these are 2 guys who are 2 good receivers. They're focal points in their offenses. I think, DJ being underrated as part of the Keenan Allen thing, but also having a rookie quarterback. But right. Caleb Williams isn't just any other rookie quarterback. So I'm not too concerned about, having those 2 as my top 2 receivers. And that was another perk of even getting Connor up there in the 6th round, was I was able to, grab some of those receivers later on and fill things in. And obviously with injuries, there's going to be the chance to get some guys on the waiver wire to fill the end of the roster there at receiver if I need to.
Yeah, also Terry McLaurin in the 8th round really stands out to me.
Yeah,
QB upgrade. This could be the best quarterback he's ever played with in Washington. We're talking about a consistent 1,000-yard guy ever since he's come out of Ohio State. Great pick there. I was a fan of that pick. That pick really stood out to me.
And no matter who the quarterback has been in Washington, McLaurin's gotten just tons of targets, and that's only going to go up from here. I think I agree with you. That's a huge pick in the 8th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also, him, and then also, I'll just also on that was also Curtis Samuel. Being a Commanders fan, I've seen what he's done in limited run behind Terry, behind Dotson. But when I was looking there in the 10th round, and I was like, you mean to tell me that theoretically the top receiver on the Bills and Josh Allen's offense is still available in the 10th round? So right. Yeah, I feel like those 2 guys were kind of no-brainer values at those points.
Yeah, he's probably going to lead that. He's probably going to lead that Bills team in targets. I don't know if he's going to lead in fantasy points. Obviously, Kincaid's there. I'm a big Khalil Shakir fan. But Curtis Samuel's got, targets written all over him in that offense. My only question is, I know they're saying he's going to be fine, but Turf Toe has one of those things of going and coming back, going and coming back, and going and coming back. And if you aggravate it bad enough, you're out for a month and a half. So that's my only concern with him.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert: Keon Coleman does not lead the Buffalo Bills in targets.
That is not a spoiler.
It's probably Kincaid if we're being
I
honest here.
absolutely
I think
hate.
we're all on
Keon
the same
Coleman.
page there.
Also, last player I want to talk about was Chuba Hubbard. Great value on your bench. We all know that he's not elite in any physical running back trait, but he gets the job done. He had a good run last year when he replaced Miles Sanders. I know he's got competition in Jonathan Brooks, but coming off an ACL tear, they said 4 weeks just to sit out. Not sure how quickly he's going to be ramped up, ready to go.
Right.
I don't know if you'll see the college Texas version of Jonathan Brooks this year at all. I believe Chuba Hubbard is going to have a huge part of this backfield. I really like that pick on your bench as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also getting him, it's just one of those things where running backs is one of those positions where, people are going to get hurt. You don't want to be the team with, or I at least refuse to be the team that will have, two good running backs and then just a Chuba Hubbard. So that's why I went ahead and got, Connor when he was sitting there and then got Hubbard at the end here.
Yeah.
If God forbid someone gets hurt, I've got guys who are in positions who are going to get those carries. I don't have to worry about spending all my fab in week 3 on, whoever's going to be leading a backfield there. So, it's just one of those things, great value sitting there when everyone else is, taking their defenses and their kickers and just shoring up that position.
All right, Alex, sounds like you're finally back now. So you go ahead and grill him questions now, too.
Wait, have I not been here the whole time?
You
have not
were
talked
just cutting
one
in and
single
out so badly for a while. So,
No, you've
I've
been here
finally
for a
heard you
while.
again, so go
You've been back for a little bit.
Okay, all right.
I have
thought
not
so.
heard Alex talk at all.
No, I'm just sitting back listening. This is a good time. So is there a player on your roster that gives you the most concern that you're a little worried about?
Not really concerned. I guess the biggest question mark would probably be Kittle. Like I mentioned, he's one of the last tight ends kind of at that tier. He's not necessarily the Kelsey, Laporta, Andrews, but the gap between him and Ingram was big enough that it was worth grabbing him. But you just gotta hope that he's can be more consistent. If tight end's that position where if I can at least get 10 plus every week, that would just definitely be good enough for the team. Just kind of hoping he avoids any of those 5 to 10 point games where other players on the 49ers are just going crazy.
So I asked the same question to Hunter. Other than your team, who do you think is going to win the championship in this league?
I kind of agree with Hunter there about John's team. Really well balanced. You went ahead and got four good running backs there and a solid chunk of receivers. It's obviously hard for a team to three-peat, so that's why Hunter's not going to be in there. And then Nicky's never won a ring, so I don't think that's going to change either. But yeah, so John probably has one of the better teams there. He's someone I'd be concerned about. But yeah, there's a ton of balanced teams in this league to watch out for.
Yeah.
Do you guys often do a lot of trading leading up to the playoffs?
Yeah, for sure. There's Belay specifically has a mission every year to trade with every single team at least once. He tries to knock a lot of that out during the draft by picking, draft picks up everywhere. So that's why his draft picks are all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I generally stay pat, but I'm obviously open to trading. There's some people who just refuse to trade, so that kind of makes things difficult. But there's usually a solid chunk of trades that happen throughout the season, especially leading up to the deadline.
All right. Before we let you go, is there any trash talk you got for the rest of the league?
I think I did enough there, kind of with, there's no way Hunter's going to three-peat. Nicky hosted us all, this past weekend with the draft. But he made sure that when we were on the drinking pedal cart in Charlotte, that we were all pedaling and he wasn't, because he's supposedly going to be the champion this year. He wrote on the wall in his bathroom that, we could thank him for being the champion and all that kind of stuff. But I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be no ring Nicky once again, and hopefully I continue my streak of 7 consecutive postseasons in a row out of 8 years. So just hoping I continue that, hoping that Nicky, doesn't win a ring. And yeah, nobody likes Chris. So
Well, if I recall,
Nobody likes
All
Chris.
my homies hate Chris.
I did have one more question for you, Wes.
Yeah.
It's just an idea. If you could expand your starting lineup to include another position or one more position, what would you add?
definitely a punter. We need to keep all the phases of the game. If we could go IDP, I would go IDP. You know, Hunter's on this crusade of getting rid of kickers and making it DFS, and that's just it's football. You got to have something with the foot and the ball. I was like, if we're removing kickers, we can add punters. Like, just add something, you know.
You
Punters
heard
in the
it.
league sound amazing. I vouch for that.
I'm pretty sure I picked you to win this league last year. What happened?
I've sometimes I've been falling apart in the beginning of the playoff. You know, sometimes I get hurt, get some bad matchups, but yeah, hopefully this year is different. Hopefully,
Nah, you're the one that let us down, and I picked you as my favorite team. Shit, man, don't do it again this year, man. Damn.
Hopefully not. I feel like this team.
It's you guys. You guys are jinxing him.
I know, dude. I didn't know it was him, man. He just team name.
This man
All right,
turns
Wes.
into Embiid.
Embiid, Peyton Manning.
All right, Wes. Thanks for joining us, and good luck this year.
Yeah, thank you.
Take
Good
it
luck.
easy, man.
This man turns into Embiid.
Brutal. Where was that in the trash talk section?
That shit is funnier than fuck.
That was rough.
Yo, did Chris come out?
All right,
Like,
we
is
go.
he live?
Is Chris the next
We
guy
don't
in?
get Chris. Chris doesn't have the balls to come on here and face the trash talk.
What?
Chris.
Oh, Chris.
Chris, I hope you wake up tomorrow with a flat tire. Oh,
All right,
shit.
but we do have one more guest before we get to the rest of the teams, which we're going to have to cruise through because we're taking a while here.
Yep.
And we got Karthik, his team is I Need an RB2. What's up?
What's up? Nice to talk to you guys.
How
What's
are you,
up,
Carly?
buddy?
I'm good. Still in the sling, but draft day was still epic. That's all we care
That's
about.
right. I heard you fucked up your shoulder a little bit,
Yeah.
but
Dislocated. and had
that
surgery.
didn't hold you back during draft weekend, huh?
No, it did not.
Only need one hand to put a sticker up there.
Huh?
So you only need one hand to put a sticker up there.
Exactly.
Nah,
Yeah,
bro,
but
you
what
ever,
if
tried to
it's your
peel, you ever
beard
tried to
hand?
peel those stickers out of the sticker catalog section? That shit's hard as fuck with one hand.
But yeah.
True.
That shit's hard
Let's
to
tell us
know.
about your draft. What was your strategy going in? How to go out?
I did a bunch of mocks. I didn't like anyone, so I was 1-1 overall at the beginning. I did a bunch of mocks. Didn't like anyone that was falling to me at 2, 12, 3, 1. I was like, I don't want to take players here. So I moved out of it. Got 1.1, 2.3, and 3.10 from Hunter. And I was like, okay, this gives me an extra second round pick, also early in the second round. And then I tried to leverage that. My ideal plan would have been to go 3 wide receiver, 1 running back, but didn't go according to plan, so that's fine.
Clearly not.
So I traded up to get. So I was at 110, and I traded with Nikki to get 108 during the draft because I knew John, who was picking before me at 109, wanted AJB, and I wanted either AJB. I didn't want Garrett Wilson. So I was like, I have to trade up for that. So I traded up to get that, and I don't know what picks I gave up. It didn't end up mattering too much in the end, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so got Amon-Ra. I got Puka in the second. I should have went with Pacheco, but I ended up getting Drake London instead at
Yeah, the
212.
team needs more Pacheco for sure.
Yeah.
We would have had to find someone else to put on the thumbnail though.
True.
Yeah. So I have
We've been
I think-
wanting on the thumbnail.
I think I have the best wide receiver core in the league.
That's
sure.
no question. There's
No question about that.
Yeah. PPR league. These are target monsters. And I was like, you know what? It makes sense. And like what? Lions are playing the Dome 15 out of 17 games. Like it's just going to be good for Jared Goff and the Lions offense. Also got Demont because I went 0 RB, as you guys probably saw, and I got Andrews end of the 4th at the turn. I was debating between him or Anthony Richardson, and I wasn't sure if I would have a later pick where I could get a good tight end. So went with him. And then after that, I don't know, like I think, and then I just went for some hero 0 RB strats. Went for guys on high octane offenses with guys who have injury history, which is Jahmyr Gibbs. You have injury history with a Shane, like, so works out for me. Like if my running backs can get me 10 to 12 points a game, like even like which Mostert and Demont were both doing last year, even after I'm like, I'll take that because my wide receiving core and tight end is stacked enough to maybe offset that. And then I just took a bunch of running backs. I think I went 4 running backs back to back at one point. So yeah. I'm one of the people that loves wide receivers in the league, but I always end up needing a running back, hence my team name.
Yeah, never seen a more fitting team name in my life.
Well, I think you executed the 0 RB strategy pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, we got some interesting guys on the bench here.
Oh yeah,
Xavier Legette. Tell me why you like him.
Well, I didn't actually like him. I just didn't want Nikki to get him because I know he wanted a Panthers player. I just don't want him to get him.
All right, that's fair. That's
a spite pick.
It's a spite pick. Yeah, like he sniped like 3 of my players earlier. Like I'm looking. Hold up, let me look at the draft board really quick. Where is it? Yeah, dude sniped like. Oh no, that was Bile. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. But he sniped a couple of my players, and I was like, all right. And I was like, I can't. I wanted Trey McBride over Andrews, to be honest. And then I was trying to stack him with Kyler in one of the later picks. And I was like, you know what? I'm not letting you have your Panthers player because he's in North Carolina. And I was like, you're not having him. So yeah, that was just a spite pick. That was a waste of a pick. I don't really care about that one.
You fucking showed him, buddy.
I mean, and what do we got? We got Legette, we got Deontay Johnson, Thielen. Like, I don't know, with maybe the new offensive coach, like maybe he could be like half useful. Like, I mean, he's like my wide receiver 6. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah, he's pretty
Look,
good.
as long as
Realistically speaking,
as long as he's doing interviews, I'm fine with him.
I mean, I think I should have taken Allen instead of Legette, to be honest, Braylon Allen.
Yeah.
But I think that was the one thing I could have changed. And I think I was in the middle of doing something, and then they were like, "Oh my god, you don't have enough time." And then I was like forced to pick, and I was like, "All right, whatever." So yeah,
he'll be that guy that you drop after week 1 when the waiver wire.
Oh, I think he's probably gonna be dropped for defense because I have no defense or kicker.
Oh, okay,
yet,
there you go.
Other than that, I like Montgomery and Demont and Mostert as like pretty solid like RB1 and 2. So I also have Jalen Warren on my bench, which is like, I don't know, like maybe the Steelers offense finally gets going this year, and obviously Jalen Warren to me is the better back out of the backfield.
He even shakes his head. Even the Steelers fan.
I watch every Steelers snap. I've watched every Steelers snap for 30 years, brother. If you think this is a year, back it the fuck up.
I mean, you can all probably agree with me in saying that Warren's probably the better back out of Harris and Warren.
He's the more explosive back.
Exactly.
He offers more big play opportunity.
Yeah.
But if you were to ask him to eat down 270 carries, I don't think he can handle Najee's workload or volume.
But that's true.
No.
Also got Chase Brown. Not bad.
Like Chase Brown.
He's doing. I mean, updates literally 2 hours ago saying he's probably going to be starting RB1 in the season. In a high flying Bengals offense, like, works out for me. And then the couple of the other guys are just handcuffs, like Gibson, McLaurin, and Charbonnet. Kenneth Walker, when he went down last season, I think for 2 or 3 games, Charbonnet had like a pretty good, like 15-point games or something. Pretty solid. McLaurin, Sean Payton's offense. Javonte Williams goes down. McLaurin's been getting rave reviews. He's a good pass catching back. It's a PPR league. Makes sense to me.
Good sleep.
Gibson, still explosive, and Stevenson didn't too hot last year. So I'm like, all my running backs are basically, if someone gets hurt, that's the primary running back.
Yeah,
I have like an RB1 or RB2.
I still believe in Antonio Gibson, but just the offense is going to be
Yeah.
so bad that I don't even know if even if he gets a shot there, if Stevenson goes down, I don't know how much that's going to pay off.
Yeah, and obviously, like my wide receiving core is just great, so I don't really
Right.
need to do. The one question I have, and I was really happy I kind of got Caleb Williams because I think he could be the CJ Stroud of this year. So
Absolutely.
that's what I'm looking forward to.
I think he could be better than the CJ Stroud of this
Yeah.
year.
I mean, with the weapons he has, yeah, he should be able to. But
Well, and his mobility.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's also a little bit more
he
mobile.
offers a playmaking ability that CJ Stroud's never had.
Oh, Chris is in here saying Antonio Gibson
Ah,
sucks. There you
Chris.
go,
Chris,
Nice.
everybody hates you, dude.
Yeah, why?
Chris,
Who
come
let
on
this
here.
guy
and
in?
defend
Yeah.
yourself.
Who
and
let this guy in?
How do you have
another.
a Pats logo talking shit about Antonio Gibson?
So Hunter's a big fan of Puka, and I told him if he wants to get him, you're gonna have to give up. I think it's like Caleb Williams, Pacheco, and who's the other one? Deontay Johnson for. No. Sorry. AR, Pacheco, and Deontay Johnson for Puka, Mostert, and Caleb Williams.
W trade.
So,
Let's make it happen.
so I have two questions for you.
Let's do it
So-
on the air.
So I would love to.
Let's go, Chris.
I would love to know where the draft board was when you drafted Puka. Love Puka. You'll never hear me say anything bad about Puka. I'm a huge Puka guy. I do know in the games when him and Cooper Kupp play together, as opposed to when they don't. You saw Puka go for over 20 fantasy points per game. When they were on the field together, Puka did come back to life a little bit, averaging just a little over 15.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know if there was any higher upside players when you drafted Puka, because I do think that Puka is due for some regression, no matter how much we don't want it to happen.
No, I that's fair. It was at the 2-3 turn. My options were Kyron Williams, Achane, Etienne, King Henry, Kamara. Well, Kamara is not even.
Okay. I
don't
do
know.
remember seeing Gibbs go too. So I do
Yeah.
remember
So
seeing-
if ideally, so when I was doing mocks, Gibbs was going. Gibbs stayed until 2-3, so I was hoping to get one elite wide receiver, one elite running back, and then
right.
get the rest to be receivers. And I personally didn't like Kyron Williams, and like we just saw the news with Blake Corum come out, so I'm glad I didn't get him.
Team
A chain, like I was kind of interested in, but I don't know, like his injury history, like I don't like people that get injured. And then I have to I draft them next year. I'm the guy in the league that drafted Andrew Luck 12 months before he retired.
That
Like,
sucks.
Oh,
Like it's like, and then I'm the guy in the league that drafted J.K. Dobbins like a day before he got injured with the ACL tear like 2 years ago. So I'm just like, I hate injured prone players.
Right.
So I just was like, I was also like Mostert was also falling to me in every single draft I was doing, mock I was doing, and I was like, if I can get value for him where he's still getting, I mean, if you saw last season, he was still getting 12 to 15 carries a game, and he was still being efficient, getting 12 points on average for the last couple of games.
I never said he was gonna suck. I did not say that at all.
Well, we didn't know the extent of the injury. We didn't know it was an ACL. And I was like, oh, because of the injury, like he went down like a little bit more. I think I got him in like 7th round or something. And I was like, oh, I'll take him in the 7th round.
okay.
So yeah.
And my last question,
Mhm.
3rd round.
That's tough.
So
What's up?
I know that we all have Drake London pegged for a huge breakout season. Me and Ryan were talking about this last night. We have yet to see Kirk Cousins throw the ball in any significant, meaningful game yet. I've seen no preseason action. I haven't seen Kirk Cousins work under center. I've just seen him do pocket passing drills in preseason camps and drills. If Drake London's never finished above wide receiver 35 at 50 points per game,
Mhm.
do you think that Drake London pick is risky in any way?
I personally think he's my wide receiver 4 over Waddle. So I think Waddle's a much safer pick, but I knew I can get him for later. So I scooped Drake London when I could. And ideally I wouldn't have wanted Drake London there. I didn't realize Pacheco was on the board, to be honest. And I should have went Pacheco. And then back around where I got Mostert, I think I could have ended up getting Godwin or Jaden Reed, which would have probably made my team a lot more consistent.
Delaware's finest, baby.
yeah.
Chris Godwin.
I mean, I mean, the way Baker Mayfield was throwing last year at the end of the season, I was like, okay, like if he can get any sort of the form he was in like 2-3 years ago, he's a wide receiver too, like instantly.
Right.
So I think that's the only thing I would have changed in this draft. Instead of taking Drake London at 212, I should have taken Pacheco, and instead of Mostert, I should have gotten Godwin or Jaden Reed. I think those are the two changes I would have probably made. But I'm happy with my team. I think it's a
No,
pretty
I like your
competitive
team.
It's
I think your
solid.
team has high upside play. A lot of people are sleeping on Jalen Waddle. We've seen Jalen Waddle finish as high as wide receiver 8 2 years ago.
Yeah, like
Injuries
I think
played a
that's- I
huge
think that's
downfall.
my-
my team exists to thrive off other teams' injuries. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle and actually Drake London a little bit are my favorite picks of your draft. Waddle, honestly, for all intents and purposes, should have had a much better year last year. He just only found the end zone twice, I think.
Exactly. The touchdown.
So
not
the
regression.
chances of that happening again, I think, are somewhere between slim and none, and Slim just left town.
Mhm.
And Drake, I think for taking a guy that's your wide receiver 4 with that much upside is pretty safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and when I thought about it, I was like, okay, we all saw what Drake London could do with really crappy quarterbacks, and now he has a guy who was thrown to Justin Jefferson on the dot all the time. So I'm like, you know what? It's worth the risk. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is like how much Kyle Pitts is going to steal red zone touches. It's
Right.
the only thing I'm slightly worried about. But other than that, I think he's still, when you consider him to be my wide receiver 4, it's still okay.
Yeah, I agree completely. The other thing I think is kind of it's a little funny based on what you said, because you said you've got a bunch of guys that'll maybe you'll get an RB1 if there's an injury in front of them, and I know they're not prone,
Mhm.
but David Montgomery and Raheem Mostert are old, man.
Yeah.
So they're in serious danger of being that guy that gets injured.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but if they both play like they did last year, I mean, Mostert's not going to have 18 touchdowns again.
That's true.
But if they both play like they did last year, man, you just nailed 0 RB.
For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I think, yeah, I think like I do like my running back core. Monty's still solid as an RB2 in my opinion. So
Yeah, and even if those guys do go down, you still have Jalen Warren and Chase Brown down there.
yeah, Chase Brown looks like he's gonna take over as RB1, and we all saw what Joe Mixon with his inefficient carries did last season. He was what, RB10 last season?
RB6.
RB6, even better. And
I'd be very surprised to see Chase Brown take over that, but
yeah, I mean possibly.
I have no stock in Zach Moss, honestly. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
I have so much stock in Zach Moss.
Really?
me too.
Yeah, I have him in every
no.
league.
Oh,
There's always
Yeah.
going to be
Well,
one
here's
guy that
Zach
goes
Moss.
Here's what I will say is that Zach Taylor prefers to give it to one dude repeatedly. That's why, even when Mixon was there, he never got a break, man. Like they never put anybody in just for a couple plays, really.
Yeah.
Unless he was out
Zach
for the
Moss
week.
I like Chris, bro. Chris, sign it up, baby. Me and you are friends now.
Yeah, Moss to the moon, baby.
Yeah, that's because he has Moss.
And
Chris
the
is
other,
friend? Wow.
I
Look at
think
that, Chris.
the other fear is that if they utilize Chase Brown in the RB1 role, and first of all, his blocking is suspect. If they use Chase Brown in the RB1 role, that's going to take away that electricity that they want to get out of him on those big chunk plays and those screen passes.
That's fair.
They just don't need to telegraph it the way they did with Giovanni Bernard. I mean, everybody stopped him all the time because as soon as he was on the field, they were like, he's getting the ball.
Damn, Wes. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I like my team, and obviously Andrew's probably top 3 tight end. Solid pick. So
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think I'm just waiting for the upside to show up 3-4 weeks in. Some players get
Yeah, I
injured.
don't-
Caleb Williams is
I
either
don't
the
say
real
anything.
deal.
I don't say anything positive about anybody that plays on the Baltimore Ravens. Fuck them.
Hey man, it's fine. It's fine.
That's crazy.
Fuck the Steelers.
How many times are we repeat AFC? AFC North champions.
Lamar Jackson's beat us one time in his whole career. Fuck that bum.
You're the guy over there drafting Bengals.
Yeah, you're right.
But
Hey,
yeah.
bro. Round 11, Zach Moss.
You know how many Steelers fans I know that have Joe Burrow as their quarterback?
I do. I have him in
fantasy?
Scott Fish.
Ironic.
Who do you think is going to be starting for Steelers? Russ?
Oh,
or-
it's Russ. He already been announced.
It's Russ.
No, God. Okay.
Well, it's Russ to start.
How
at least.
long? For how long?
Yeah, for how long? Yeah.
Well, the thing
For
is,
how
the thing
long?
about
I'll
Russ
give it
is,
6
I don't
weeks.
think Russ is going to do anything bad enough to get the job taken away from him.
That's fair.
You know
I
what
think.
I mean?
He was
Unlike
serviceable on the Broncos.
unlike on the
He didn't play
Raiders,
bad last year, honestly.
unlike
he
on the
played
Raiders,
great,
I've been
but-
saying all off season that Minshew and AOC are both going to play games because the first one that gets the job is going to fuck it up, and then the other guy's going to come in.
Yeah.
That's
Let's put this down though. George Pickens, top 15 season coming, baby.
Bust. He's a bust.
Don't talk
Top
bad about
15. Last
He's
I
a-
heard, you had him in the top 12.
it. I do.
Oh.
I'm being real. I'm shooting for the moon there. I'm being realistic now.
He's a bust. Only take him in best ball.
Also,
by next week, he's going to be saying top 30.
I think one of my favorite picks was actually. I think one of my favorite picks was actually Josh Downs.
I like
Yeah,
Josh
I
Downs.
love Josh Downs.
I like Josh Downs.
With where I got him, the fact he's actually out of the walking boot and everything right now, he could possibly start in week 2.
Yeah.
My wide receivers are just stacked. It doesn't, and I
Yeah.
think the part of why I went with Josh Downs is maybe I could trade away Drake London or like the trade with Hunter that I was talking about. Like if Puka or someone goes, I still have a solid wide receiver 4.
When you
Yeah.
think about the Colts offense, they're so cluttered. They have a lot of like solid skill position players in that offense. You know, you mix AR, you mix JT, you mix Pittman,
Yep.
you mix Mo Alley Cox, you mix AD, you mix Josh Downs. There's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. I'm not saying any of them are elite by any means, but they have, solid mouths to feed. It's a pretty cluttered offense. It really
That is
and I
not
don't
the
think
trade I offered
anybody
you,
really
Rich.
knows what the game plan is going to look like there. You know what I mean? Before the Colts,
run it some more, baby. JT's gonna have.
well, yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. Before the Bengals played the Colts 2 weeks ago, they did a joint practice, and apparently by the end of it, the Bengals were like chiding Anthony Richardson to throw the ball because he
Really?
wouldn't throw the
He
ball,
wouldn't throw the ball. Oh.
and they were just saying stuff like, "Is this all this dude does is run?" Because they were like, we can't practice
That's
because you
fair.
won't throw the ball.
That's fair.
Josh
That
Downs
is
will be on
not-
the waiver wire by week 3.
Oh, I don't know about that.
What?
That's my prediction. All right.
That is not the trade I offered you, Roshan.
Other than your team, who has the best chance to win the championship?
As much as I hate to say it, it's probably gonna be Hunter or John because Hunter just comes in with a random trade out of nowhere by like week 6 or 7, and then completely. I think last season he got Tyreek Hill for basically like dog shit, and like because both the players got injured the week after. So
Wow.
it's just like he just knows when to make the right trades, and like so far he's been lucky enough to make trades where like it looks even at the time, but like a week later it's just like completely benefits him. Like so so I think he just knows when to make really good trades. His team's also not horrible. Like he has CMC. Like I don't know whose wide receivers are actually.
Neighbors,
Oh,
Higgins,
Neighbors,
Carter,
Higgins.
Deontay.
Okay, yeah.
Deontay, Christian
So
Kirk,
yeah, he has good players, and John, like you said, like has one of the best balanced teams. Wes's
Man, it
team is
sounds
also
like
up there, but
everybody's in on John.
huh? Yeah, no, John's team is really good. Wes's team is up there as well, but Wes always somehow chokes. So
I like West's team a lot.
he always
West got-
chokes though. So
West
that's
got
fine.
squad.
All right. Any
I'm an
last
RB deficient.
words before we let you go?
No, that's it. Oh, Chris, like Roshan, your team is dog shit. I'm sorry, dude. And
Jesus.
Be like, what are you doing, man? Just you got to stop trading.
And if you do, just
Bobby
trade like a
hates
milkshake for a star tight end.
He has to stop trading picks, man. Like he gave up. Like I don't know what the hell he was doing. But yeah, other than that, I like everyone else's team except Roshan and Belays for the most part.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and
Yeah,
good luck this year.
Sure. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Bye.
Take it easy, man.
All right. Well, we gave everybody a chance to come in, but we only got 3 of them. So the rest
Well,
of you
what-
guys,
Was
Right,
Chris
you
the one
guys-
that was supposed to come on and bailed?
yeah, I think so.
I don't
And
know.
And he's in the chat now?
He
Bro,
coming
you
in
gotta
anyway.
show
We're
up, Chris.
55 minutes in, only through 3 teams, so we gotta start getting through.
Yeah,
some
we
of these.
gotta speed this up. All right,
Yeah,
let's go to the
yeah,
next team. Next team is let's talk about Chris. Everybody hates Chris. Let's talk about Chris. He's got Silence of the Lamb is his team. This guy, he always makes excuses when he loses. He claims he's the unluckiest, but he might just be bad at fantasy football. And he lost last year, and he refused to do his punishment.
What?
Oh yeah, nah. Yeah,
Nah,
that's absolutely.
And
No
you
wonder
wonder
everybody
why
likes
everybody hates Chris.
That's crazy.
Everybody hates Chris.
And one last thing about Chris. He refuses to trade or even listen to fair offers. He'll also make the most outrageous takes and truly believe in them. And then he just pretends he never said it once they're proved wrong.
Sounds like Steven.
But he loves Aaron Rodgers. Huge Aaron Rodgers fan. Huge
What?
Aaron Rodgers fan.
What?
Yeah. All right.
I stand by my takes.
I know, sometimes too long. That's okay.
Sometimes too
I stand
long.
by mine.
All right. Silence of the Lamb. Let's start at the top. I can't even find his team. Where is it?
I'm going to
Josh
go
Allen
ahead.
in the squad.
I'm going to go ahead and say this, and you guys can laugh me right out of the
Go for it.
room. I think this is probably one of my top 2 teams in the league.
Ooh.
All right. Let's talk about it. We got Josh Allen at quarterback. So it's starting good there.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver, just signed that big new contract. He's good
we
to
got
go.
a discount on him.
Yeah, probably did.
No, he did not. Drafted.
No, he did.
Okay, never mind. I take it back.
Okay.
Go on.
And then we got some questions. I mean, is Devontae Adams, is he going to survive with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner quarterback? What do you guys think about him? I mean, are we in on Devontae Adams this year? I don't think I've drafted him much this year, to be honest with you.
I'm so hesitant on Adams just because I don't trust the quarterbacks. I know, like, he's one of those guys who's, for the most part in his career, been quarterback proof, but he's getting old at this point. He's got to depend on either O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. And Minshew's ADOT is one of the lowest any quarterbacks. So if he gets a starting job, I'm concerned about Devontae Adams' like long ball and everything that comes with that. I think Adams is somebody who I'm actively avoiding, but he's also a perennial Pro Bowl wide receiver year in, year out. So yeah.
Yeah, and if I'm right and Minshew is eventually going to screw up enough to cede the job to AOC, let's say that happens like after the bye, which is like week 9 or something, then you're talking about Devontae Adams possibly getting a spike after that point headed towards the playoffs. So, I guess it's kind of weather the storm maybe and hope for the best.
So I do like the Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid stack going on here.
I do like
If anybody's catching passes, we talked about, it's Curtis Samuel, maybe it's Khalil Shakir, definitely not Keon Coleman. But it's going to be Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be the primary beneficiary, even though they keep saying that the what's his name? Dawson Knox is still going to be heavily involved in the offense. But, I mean, the chances of him taking looks away from Kincaid are only going to be when Allen changes the play at the line of scrimmage.
Right.
Well, let's look at the running backs. We got Kenneth Walker. We got Najee Harris as the starters. And then on the bench, we got Zach Moss, who we've already talked about. And then we got Jordan Mason, who's suddenly in position to be one of the best handcuffs in fantasy football. We got Elijah Mitchell out for the year. Isaac Guerrero, I don't think he's practiced more than twice since summer started. Yeah. And Jordan Mason, apparently he's maturing into the offense, and he's ready to be the RB2. And we know Christian McCaffrey's injury history. He's already dealing with a calf during the summer.
Madden curse is real, boys. Madden curse.
That's right. Madden curse as well. Any other thoughts on this team?
Yeah, I don't hate.
Go ahead.
I don't hate Devontae Adams as much as you guys do at all. I mean, we're talking about a guy who hasn't finished outside the top 10 since 17. Let's be honest here. Devontae Adams is that guy who's going to draw 160 plus targets. Volume is king in fantasy football. I know we talked about Gardner Minshew, but I've seen Gardner Minshew produce wide receiver 1 numbers with Michael Pittman Jr. And we're talking about Devontae Adams, who is quite possibly one of the best wide receivers that we've ever watched step on the football field in this generation. Love the pick. Love the value of the pick. So I do like that. I do have concerns. I know CeeDee Lamb is a first-round talent. I know how elite CeeDee Lamb is. These guys that don't practice all summer really scare me at times. CeeDee Lamb has yet to see the practice field. That does scare me a little bit. Obviously, I'm not worried about the talent, but I want to say that does scare me. But I also like Ken Walker and Najee Harris. I like the way he built the running back room with what he already has in place in Kincaid, Josh Allen, CD, and all those guys. I think this is a team that has a chance to win it all, like Sam says.
Yeah, what really drew me to it was there's a lot of weak benches in this league. A lot of, well, maybe if something happens here, then this guy's relevant. Maybe if something happens here, this guy's relevant. And on his bench, I mean, he's got probably a starting running back in Zach Moss. He's got a starting wideout and Romeo Doubs. He's got a starting wideout for whatever you want to say about him in Cortland Sutton. That just depends on, as Bo Nix goes, so goes Sutton. Right. Burton, he's going to be able to drop and pick somebody else up. And then he's going to get Hawkinson for the home stretch,
That's one comment I had about it is like, if we're drafting Kincaid and then we're drafting Hawkinson later, I mean, you kind of expect him to put up like wide receiver or running back numbers out of the flex spot.
Right.
I think even when he comes back from that injury, it's going to take a while for him to get going. On top of what's going on with the quarterback situation there. I mean, hopefully he's there for him when it's time for a championship run, but you never really know.
I think you're playing with
injuries.
You're playing with T.J. Hawkinson as the second the news comes out that he's going to be back. He's back practicing. He's going to play this week. Put him on your trade block. Somebody's going to be in need of a tight end.
That's true.
And you make a deal.
That's true.
Yeah. And it was only about a month ago that the coaching staff was saying he might be back for week 1. I mean, I don't think any of us bought it, but for them to even say that means he's already making some sort of progress in his rehab and his workouts and such like that.
Right.
So, but the bench is strong.
Bench is strong. Right. Worthy and starting lineup concerning. No, I'm done.
Let's move on to the no ring Nicky. This is Vinny Vidi Vici. He's missed the playoffs last year. He's never won a championship in this league.
How many years?
It doesn't say. It sounds like it's been a while. That's why he's got the nickname. No ring Nicky. I'm also having trouble finding his team again.
And this was one of the ones that Hunter mentioned as he thought it was a team to beat.
I'll be honest with you, I don't see it that way.
Really?
I don't.
Here's the thing with it. I think you go like high upside here. Got guaranteed he got Rasheed at a value, right? Cool. He didn't get suspended, so that pays off. Like A-Chain's ceiling is the moon, if we're honest. He's one of the most polarizing players in fantasy this year. His upside's absolutely insane.
Right.
James Daniels, go down the line. I mean, team's got upside. It's probably not the best on paper, but at least it offers like some type of ceiling that he can get to.
Right. I mean, I get it. You're talking about yards per opportunity, yards per carry with Devon A-Chain. But to be honest with you, and I know we talk about Alvin Kamara and the aspect of how he was a fantasy monster down the stretches for years, and he handled it with limited workload. I do not see the same upside with Devon A-Chain. I really don't. I don't
either.
In that range, I'd give me ETN. There's a lot of running backs out there. Like I said, ETN is my favorite second-round running back that I'm chasing this year. It's just me. I need a guaranteed workload. I don't know what Devon A-Chain's workload is. I don't know if he'll touch 200 times, touch the ball 200 times. I really don't.
I mean, that
That's
could
the
be a
question.
three-headed backfield.
Could. That's why I say it's the most polarizing. I think it's
Right.
like you guys want one way or the other.
Right, but do you want the guarantee, or do you want the you're chasing the moon?
I mean, you know me. Like I'm a fantasy player who's always going to take like if this guy can consistently week in and week out give me 12 to 15 points, then I'm taking that guy. And you're right. I would probably prefer an ETN over A-Chain, but I mean, if you're going for upside, you got to be a little bit different in 12-man leagues. And if you think A-Chain is going to have a monster season, go for it.
Also, Nico Collins, love Nico. I just think
Garrett
the
Wilson,
addition,
too.
I think
Yeah,
the
same
addition
thing
of
with that.
Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon typically really crowd that offense in Houston. I
Yeah.
really, really do. Not sure weekly who I feel comfortable starting in that offense.
Well,
I think
Diggs is just going to eat up targets.
I think the Houston offense, especially the wide receivers, are more suited for best ball,
Yes.
not standard redraft. That's just me. I will say I love Rashee Rice, love Garrett Wilson, love Trey McBride.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Ridley,
Yeah.
Plus Jaden Daniels. We all know the upside that Jaden Daniels possesses. We all know that he, has top 10 upside. He has the rushing value. The Konami code guys, they have that ability to finish in the top 10, even though it doesn't look pretty. So Jaden Daniels has that ability to do so.
And he
Are you
came off
willing
in
to-
the
Seventh is nuts
seventh
for
round.
value.
Came off in the 7th.
Yes.
Crazy.
Are you willing to? Okay, so for reference, Joe Burrow went in the 8th round for Wes. Are you willing to bet on Jaden Daniels' upside, or do you want Joe Burrow?
Daniels.
Yoink.
It's my question.
I want Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
On the 7th round.
I've drafted Jaden Daniels pretty high this offseason, so I can't fall off my take. But
I don't think
he's my-
I'm drafting him over Joe Burrow.
If,
my
if
most
it was,
drafted
if,
player
if
on
it was six, if
on
it was
Rogue.
6 points per passing touchdown, I'd think about Burrow, but I tend to
Can we
lean
see
Daniels.
Can we see the scoring settings? That does make a difference.
Yeah,
yes.
it's 4 for
Yes.
passing touchdowns, 6 for rushing. No premium on tight ends.
Oh fuck. Well,
Yeah.
that might change the conversation a little bit. Oh well, I look dumber now.
Everything else is pretty typical.
Yeah.
I like this team.
I like this team too.
I can't get behind it. I'm gonna say that's a nay for me.
I'm also not a huge fan. I don't know. Everything has to break just right. If it does, then he'll smash everybody. But isn't that always the way it is in fantasy football?
Sure.
Only question I have is why the hell is Tom Brady on his bench?
Yeah, that's what I didn't want to be the one to say it.
That's that veteran leader, baby. That's the motherfucking goat.
The one thing I'll say about this team that kind of sets it apart from me saying a guaranteed playoff team. I think this is probably in the top 6 of the teams. I think the one team that's holding me back for him to make playoffs guaranteed is Zamir White in the RB2 spot.
Right.
I have no love for Zamir White, and I think chances are you can be looking to your bench. Well, I'm not going to say that, but I think Zamir White's going to disappoint.
I like Zamir White.
I've been on
man.
Zamir White and I don't think, I mean, at this point,
It's just
what is
the offense
Madison
for me.
even doing in the league? He's terrible. So is he going to take the touches away?
True.
I mean, I'm okay
I
with Zamir.
I like Zamir White.
It's just that they're going to
All right, any
stack the
last-
box.
Any last thoughts on this team?
Good.
It doesn't make the playoffs.
Really? Not even the playoffs?
Not even playoffs.
I don't like this team.
I don't either.
Interesting. All right. Let's move on to Andrew B-Lot. He's a vitamin RB deficient. So this is a guy who always trades his entire team away after the draft. And Hunter says on draft weekend he got drunk at the draft weekend.
Oh, no.
And he was kind of going a little wild there, making trades and doing some crazy shit. But let's look at his team. So we got Kyler Murray at quarterback. I love Kyler this year. And then running back gets a little interesting with Ramondre Stevenson and then Ty Chandler. This is RB2. That might be a problem because
You know what? You know what he needs? He needs his girlfriend back in the league to trade him an RB2.
No. Is this the guy that a little cheating
Little-
going on there?
Little accused of
Collusion.
collusion once before.
Dang,
Well,
man.
now it's ex-girlfriend, so that's not happening.
Oh,
Well, at least you give him our RB2, so you gotta at least give her that.
Well, we're yeah. I'm not gonna. Never mind. Let's move on. No Ty Chandler. I don't know what we're doing with Ty Chandler there.
What's
Jamar
going on?
Chase. Jamar Chase. We got some. I mean, this guy practices one day and then he doesn't the next day, and he's back at practice and he's not at practice. I don't know what's gonna happen. Is he just gonna show up week 1 and be like, "Yeah, I'm playing," or is this gonna be a little more of an extended hold in? What are we thinking about Jamar Chase, this situation?
Well, that's the question that I asked myself too, because we saw this with Jefferson last year. Jefferson did the same thing in the offseason, unfortunately, and he left us in, purgatory a little bit. But Jefferson did play. But then again, we've seen the extreme drastic Le'Veon Bell situation. So how does this play out for Chase? I'm hoping Chase plays. Chase wasn't due for a contract extension until next year. I really hope Chase plays. He's an elite winner. He's a fantasy elite wide receiver. For your sake, you need Chase to play.
I think number one, Chase is too close with Joe Burrow to not play.
Yeah.
To hang him out to dry like that. And number two, I think Chase just loves playing football too much. Business or no business. Apparently the Bengals have a pretty lucrative deal on the table. Who knows? I don't know what the dollar amounts are. But he still hasn't signed it. When he was late to practice today, I was like, does he look like he has a hand cramp from signing a bunch of papers?
Not
Well,
quite.
they keep digging themselves in a hole, dude. Now that CD just signed this deal, you're going to have to up CD.
Right. Yeah, it's going to
You
be
just
even
keep
more.
digging yourself in a hole.
Yep.
Well, apparently, even before CD's deal, he was already asking for more than J. Jeff.
Right. But listen, I know that Devontae
He was looking for
and Waddle-
160.
I know Devontae and Waddle just signed their deals. We're talking about the same draft class, but he's going to earn a more lucrative deal than those two wide receivers. He's going to earn more than Amon-Ra. Now CD sets the market. The Bengals played a dangerous game, and they lost. They lost this game. And Chase is going to be the benefactor. But he wasn't due for an extension. That's the problem that bothers me most. He's on pace to make over $20 million as a wide receiver one per NFL averages. It fucking bothers me, man.
I don't know, man. I'm not stepping on the field without signing a contract if I'm him.
It's so tough because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's got this year and next on his rookie contract. So it's not like
No, this is year 4.
Well, he got the 5th-year extension. The 5th
Right,
year,
he's got the 5th year.
okay.
But they're going to sign him next year.
Yeah. Next year is next.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Okay.
He's going to play this year on a $20 million average.
Yeah.
All
But
right,
for this
so-
team's sake, he needs Chase.
Outside of the running backs in this team, I kind of don't hate past that. I mean,
Yeah.
Jamar, Devontae, Laporta, Pickens, and Godwin, I think are all high value guys
I love
going down the
Devontae.
line.
I'll be honest with you. I think he reached drastically on Laporta. Laporta was a 2nd-round pick. And as a tight end one, this is the lowest points per game average we've seen scored in quite some time. Obviously, I know Travis Kelce set the bar high. So I want to know who was available in the 2nd round because I do not believe Laporta is a 2nd-round pick in any fantasy format. It's just
Well, if you look at the
True.
sleeper default ADP, they have Sam Laporta in the 2nd round, so that's enticing people to draft him there. But I agree with you. I
Yeah.
wouldn't touch him there. I'm not even drafting him in like the 4th round. I mean, the tight end position, we got like top 4, 5, 6 guys who are all kind of together.
Mhm.
I'm not going to be the first one to draft a tight end.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's not like
this year. It goes
it's not the
deep this year.
positional value that Travis Kelce used to give you because he was the only one scoring points.
Yeah.
And he's still got
He's got
Amon-Ra
a
St.
line.
Brown in that offense to compete with.
And Gibbs,
And Gibbs.
Montgomery, even. I mean, that offense is loaded, so it's tough.
He's got George Pickens, though, baby.
Yeah.
My boy.
Top 30 wide receiver season
Top-
coming.
But
15 wide receiver.
No, I like Pickens a lot as well. I
And he's
drafted
got
him.
Chris Godwin.
I drafted
Who
him in a
doesn't
startup
Chris
lately
Godwin?
as my wide receiver 3. So
Do you think we
Actually-
have any type of bias towards Chris Godwin, or you think that's just okay?
That's Delaware's finest, baby. Chris Godwin, if you ever watch a podcast, please come on our show, bro. We are your biggest fans. Straight up.
let's make it happen.
Let's make it
All
happen.
right. We're going to the bench. I like Jalen Wright on the bench.
Yes.
Andre Yoshivas, kind of maybe a little backup plan B for Jamar Chase a little bit.
Yeah.
He's going to be.
And then
He's going to open probably as wide receiver 3
Yeah.
in the slot. He's taking all the slot snaps right now.
Right. And then I don't know if I really like the rest of the backup running backs you got going on here. Audric Estime is fine. Damian Pierce is not ever going to be a thing ever
I hate
again.
Damian Pierce.
Justice Hill is never going to do anything. Pierre Strong.
Ugh.
And then I don't know if Jonathan Brooks. Are we even going to get full Jonathan Brooks in 2024? We might have to wait till 2025 to see Jonathan Brooks.
He's going to be splitting
Always.
time even when he finally plays.
Even when he's back. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Brooks scares me in redraft.
All right. Any last thoughts on this team? We got to keep it moving here.
Yeah. Good to keep moving.
All right. Next team, not the White Ghost. This guy has a fetish for Najee Harris or any Steelers player. And his nickname is Last Place Average. It's always been a bad team every year,
Wow.
over 8 years. Average is the worst finish.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't draft anybody on this team.
Nah, bro. Give me some DK Metcalf and Brees Hall. What are you talking about?
Dude, give me Javonte and Khalil, and they're on his bench.
Yeah. I mean, I can't agree with Javonte, but I can't get on board with Shakir where he's going at in drafts.
So I will say, he's got Brees Hall. We're loaded. We're good.
Right.
We're loaded. We're ready.
He played hero running back pretty well here. I won't lie.
Yeah, I like Jerome Ford too. Like, I don't know where he got him in his draft. I'm actually curious. Let's see. Jerome Ford went in the 10th round, 111th overall. I'm a fan of Jerome Ford. I don't know what we're ever going to see from Nick Chubb ever again. That's one of the most catastrophic knee injuries I've ever witnessed.
That was terrible to see on camera.
Yeah. Whew. And I'll be honest, I don't know where Nick Chubb's value lies. And I believe Jerome Ford is a great draft pick. We were talking about Chuba Hubbard in the same aspect. I believe Jerome Ford needs to be talked about in the same aspect as Chuba Hubbard. I really do.
Fair.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. And once again, talking about the sleeper ADP, last I checked, Nick Chubb's going in the 8th round on sleeper ADP.
You know, we're good.
He and Jonathan Brooks.
Out
That
the
is
door.
just awful. You can't draft them there.
Yeah, you can have
but
that.
anyway.
I'm good. So
All right.
the one thing I want to say about these wide receivers, Olave and Pittman
Tough.
draw question marks for me. I believe DK Metcalf is actually his best wide receiver on this roster.
Debo?
What about Debo?
I like Debo. Okay, I'm sorry.
What?
I like the thing is about Debo is if there's no rushing value, Debo's really whatever. He's a wide receiver 3. It's just what he is. The rushing value really sets Debo apart. I'll be honest with you. And we don't perceive rushing value isn't something that we can count on year in and year out. But like with Olave and Pittman, I don't know where their archetypes are. Where you have to draft Olave, you're in wide receiver 1 territory. And to me, Chris Olave isn't a wide receiver 1 in redraft fantasy football.
Hasn't finished inside top 20 yet. And he's still drafted, I think.
And Pittman,
And they're going to be
Pittman,
worse.
I see negative regression for Pittman. Pittman, we were talking about him as a top 13 wide receiver last year with Gardner Minshew.
Sure.
Got absolutely peppered with targets. There's no way Pittman sees 100 catches this year.
I still like Pittman. I still like Pittman, but he definitely was better off with Gardner Minshew. I agree with that.
Yeah.
So these 2 wide receivers scare me in certain aspects. And that's why I'm going to say that DK will finish the highest as his wide receivers. I'm a big DK fan this year. I'm a big fan of what Seattle's doing. And I want to own DK in a lot of leagues.
It's going to be a completely different offense. It's going to be a much more fun, much more modern offense. Not the Pete Carroll, slow, run the ball, 3 tight ends in the field at all times.
Yeah.
Speaking of tight ends, we've got Brock Bowers. What do you think about Brock Bowers' rookie season?
Rookie tight ends are hard to gauge, man. They're so hard to gauge. But then again, we witnessed Sam Laporta do what he did last year. We've seen Kyle Pitts go for 1,000 yards. I've been hearing great things about Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is a mismatch waiting to happen from camps out of Las Vegas. And from the clips I've seen, Brock Bowers is dominating.
Yeah.
So if Brock Bowers were to put up a top 7 tight end season, I'm not surprised. He's the greatest tight end we've seen in quite some time.
He's a unicorn. So he came off in the 9th round, 7th pick. And, contrary to what we were saying about Devontae Adams, he stands to benefit from the quarterback situation in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? They're gonna need to dink and dunk when they can, just to keep the ball moving. So and they're talking about lining them up in the slot sometimes and doing 2 tight ends and putting Mayer out there too. So I'm all in on Brock Bowers this season.
Me too.
If you look at the bench, I think Quentin Johnson, Roman Wilson, they're going to be worthless for you. Just drop them. Pick up back of running backs or something else.
Alex hates Quentin Johnston so much.
There is never a good time to draft Quentin Johnston.
Never, ever, ever, ever.
I like Quentin Johnson more this year than I did last because there's nobody left. And because I saw one clip of him catching the ball with his hands.
Josh,
that one time
in practice that he's been practicing all year, and he gets the one one hand catch.
Quentin Johnson is the type of guy that you should be seeing highlight clips from training camp, at least, of him making spectacular plays. We don't even get that. It's never going to happen. All right, any last thoughts on this team?
Average.
Yeah, I think so.
About middle of the pack. Yeah.
I don't think he's finishing last this year.
Me either.
No.
Yeah, no.
You didn't even talk about CJ Stroud, but I think he's being overdrafted, but still a solid QB there.
I agree.
Just to throw Stroud out there real quick. I didn't want to skip over him.
I agree wholeheartedly on the overdrafting of CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
We all talk about the ability to offer any kind of rushing upside. CJ Stroud does not offer that. For him, for you to what's the word I'm looking for? To make do with drafting CJ Stroud as high as you do, he's got to push for 45.
6th round. I don't hate that. 6th round, I don't hate.
Oh, see, usually he's going 4th, 5th.
Yeah. I didn't check.
So never mind. There's a little bit of a value.
So round 6, I'm okay with that. I take everything back I said. That's
okay. Never mind. That makes it a little better.
Yeah, he was one of the first, at the end of the running quarterbacks. He came off, but before Kyler, though.
Ooh,
I believe.
See, I love me some Kyler Murray.
Me too.
And
this is a 4-point touchdown passing league.
Yeah.
Even more reason to like Kyler. All right, moving on to the Washington.
The who?
This is the Washington Foreskins.
Oh.
All right. This is a Jay. He's the most lovable and nicest guy in the league. We're going to talk shit about his team anyway.
Sweet.
He hasn't paid. He might be nice.
Safe. He can be
might
nice.
be nice. However, he has not made the playoffs in 6 years.
Whoa.
Oh, bro's just pulling names out of a hat? Okay.
6 years.
There's
All
a
right.
tough break. Now, first, can we just look at this real quick and think to ourselves, does he have a shot to break that streak?
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think he does.
I think he does too. Okay. I'm just glad I'm not going crazy here. I like the start. I'm assuming the start was probably Bijan, Kelsey, Ayuk, Rashad, Love, somewhere in that order.
Probably.
Yeah.
We're gonna be drafting Bijan Robinson 101 next year, I think. He's gonna have a huge year.
It's going to be Brees.
I don't know. I'm going Bijan.
I got Bijan in my home league though at 1-8. I was really excited about that.
That's great.
The 1-8,
That
yeah,
is great.
that's good.
That's great.
That seems to be about where he goes, like the 106 to 108 range, typically.
I watched Brees Hall go 102, and I was so fucking proud. I was like, yes.
I do like Brees Hall. I love Brees Hall, but I'm leaning Bijan.
So with this team, though, again, we talked about the Laporta draft, the pick. Do we look, man? I don't know if we were seeing the decline of Travis Kelce. I don't know, but I know he garnered a lot of targets last year, but it wasn't Travis Kelce that we've come to know and love. It wasn't that same Travis Kelce last year. He looked like he lost a step. It just, you know what I mean? He didn't look the same. So, again, we're taking Travis Kelce in the second round. Are there other options that we can pivot to there? Because, again, I don't love the pick.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would rather take a number of running backs or wide receivers in that second, third round range where Kelce seems to go.
Yeah.
And then just draft, draft Evan Ingram, draft David Njoku or Kyle Pitts multiple rounds later.
Jesus
Christ.
Kittle plummeting this year.
We just talked about Brock Bowers. He goes in like the 8th, 9th round.
Yeah. Tight end isn't as premium as it once was. We have a bunch of studs up and coming, and I think the time to take tight ends super early is probably behind us at this point.
So I think if this team, there's a lot of ifs about this team. If this team's going to get to a certain point, we need Brandon Ayuk to play, for one.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Zay Flowers to take that next step. We need DeAndre Swift to be more than a glorified satellite back, and we need Jaden Reed to be the guy in that Packers offense. That's a lot of ifs. They can all come together.
And Rashad White to get 300 touches again. So it's tough.
Yeah. So
the bench is a little worrying too when you look at the
disgusting.
I mean, at least they have an IR spot for Chubb, and he's not wasting a roster spot.
That's right. But you probably wasted a draft pick to get him.
But Demarcus Robinson's not going to do anything. Troy Franklin's not going to do anything. I personally do not think AD Mitchell's going to do anything.
I agree.
Except
not enough to be fantasy worthy.
No, he's like if you got him on a best ball roster, fine.
Right.
Maybe he has one blow up game here and there.
Right.
But he's more of a red zone target.
Yeah, you're never going to know when to start him. What are the weeks he's going to have a good week? It's going to be a low volume passing offense with a quarterback who has question marks as a passer, with Michael Pittman there and Josh Downs we talked about we like earlier.
Right.
But yeah, I judge fantasy teams by their bench, and this one does not pass the test.
No.
I just want to say real quick, just one shot at this guy is like we were talking about another guy earlier in the show talking about how he got Joe Burrow in the 8th round, and this guy picked Nick Chubb. I think it's just something you can't do.
Yeah,
I think you kind of throwing a pick away in the 8th round where you can get somebody of actual value there. It's
catastrophic.
That's rough. Nick Chubb in the 8th is a big no for me, and I think that kind of reflects.
You can still get difference makers in the 8th round.
Right.
You're getting a guy who isn't going to play until midseason, and then even when he does, what are we really going to get from him?
He's going to be a shell of himself.
Exactly.
Right. He's going to be
Exactly.
splitting carries.
To the point where we see a split full season with Ford and Chubb.
Right. Exactly.
So
it sucks too, dude, because Nick Chubb was so dominant.
Yeah, one of the
Nick
best
Chubb
pure
was
runners in
so
football.
damn
It was him
dominant,
and Derrick
dude.
Henry for a long time.
All right. Last thoughts on this team?
I'm good.
Actually,
Said my piece.
I think there's some question marks. I really do. But overall, if Brandon Ayuk plays, not bad.
No, not bad.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Honestly, it's too many ifs, and then the bench doesn't back it up.
Yeah, the
All
more
right,
I look
moving
at
on.
it, the more I'm like,
Yeah. Moving on to John, legal cheaters. So
This dude's
This is
taking
my-
the lead.
this is my second favorite team.
Yeah, this dude's
I think it's
taking
gonna be
the
him
lead.
and West duking it out.
This
What do we like
dude is
about this
taking the lead.
I can't find it. I always have a hard time finding these teams. Oh, here we go. All right, we got Jalen Hurts at quarterback, and then we got Team Kyron.
Team Kyron.
Who's on Team Kyron? Pass up.
Scott Fishbowl, absolutely.
Punt returner 1.
Returner 1. Watch him cook up in Scott Fish, but we're not here to talk about Scott Fish.
If he's returning, he's gonna.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I mean, it scares me. I've always been a Blake Corum guy, so once I saw him get dropped to the Rams, I was like, okay, it's time to maybe like worry about Kyron a little bit. And now I think we're getting to that point. Anytime you hear a guy getting talked about punt returns, it's like, what's the play here?
I mean, Kyron Williams, he led all running backs in snap share per game and touches per game. That absolutely 100% will not be repeated.
Right.
No, that's factual. That's factual.
Well, and you're talking about the guy they drafted is 2 rounds earlier draft capital, you know.
Right.
Kyron was a 5th round pick. And McVay's finicky like that with his running backs.
Yep.
So I am not a Kyron believer. He's on my D&D list this year.
Yeah.
Me too.
I will say whoever wins the backfield, Sean McVay typically sticks with 1 running back and he runs them into the ground. So if Kyron can hold on to this, it's Kyron's to lose at this point. So we'll see. But I will say he does have that for him that McVay is a very loyal guy, especially to his running backs. So if it is Kyron, then okay. It just comes down to the fact of him reproducing the efficiency to go with the touches. Remember, he was averaging over 5 yards per carry last year. And is that sustainable? To me, no, it's not.
No. You can't convince me that the Rams didn't need something else in the 3rd round than a running back.
Right. Thank you.
Yes. Unless they were already worried about Kyron Williams.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. All right. Moving on. Josh Jacobs. He's looking pretty good right now by the day. AJ Dillon's out for the year. Marshawn Lloyd has been injured all training camp. After that, it's Emmanuel Wilson, I believe is his name.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So Josh Jacobs is going to get a heavy workload at least early in the year. Then we got AJ Brown, Amari Cooper, wide receiver. Jake Ferguson he's pretty volume dependent in that offense, touchdown dependent, but he could absolutely get it because they don't really have a well-defined wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 after CeeDee Lamb.
Yep.
And then we got Aaron Jones. I think he's still a little explosive, but
it's gonna be tough. It'll be a tough season for him.
I'm not fading him to the point where that other guy's got Ty Chandler as his RB2, but I'm not super confident in Aaron Jones at this point.
Yeah.
Same thing I could say about Keenan Allen. I think he's going to be overtaken by Roma Dunze much sooner than anybody's expecting. And then we look at the bench. I like Brian Robinson a lot this year. I've been drafting him a ton. I'm not a big Brian Robinson guy, but going in the 9th, 10th round this year, I think that backfield's all his still. I'm not that worried about Austin Eckler. So Brian Robinson, I think that's going to be a good pick for you there. Then we got Rashid Shaheed, Gabe Davis, Jacoby Myers, Christian Watson. Overall thoughts about this team?
I love Amari Cooper. I just want to throw it out there. When Deshaun Watson plays, we're talking about a wide receiver who averages over 17 fantasy points per game. We're talking about a wide receiver 1 with a huge upside going in the low-end wide receiver 2 price range. If there's any wide receiver that we can bet on to consistently outperform their ADP, Amari Cooper is on that list every year. Love the Amari Cooper pick. Josh Jacobs' pick looks better and better by the day.
Yep.
AJ Brown, we know who AJ Brown is. We know what he's about. He's a fucking baller. Nothing else to say about AJ Brown. Stack it with Jalen Hurts. Jake Ferguson, one of my late-round tight end sleepers. Top 5 in red zone snaps and red zone touchdowns for tight ends last year. Jake Ferguson, a great buy low at the tight end position. I like this roster. I do.
Yeah, I like it. I think a lot of it depends on Kyron keeping some of that job. I think Josh Jacobs is probably the top scoring running back on this roster. I'm not like fading you on the whole Keenan Allen take, but I think where you're getting him this year, he's probably worth the value to sit in your flex spot that you can get away with that with Caleb Williams slinging the rock.
I agree.
Aaron Jones, I don't know. I'm so tough on him.
I like
Aaron
Jones.
Him and Kyron are the 2 question marks on this team to see if like it could really take that championship step. But I mean that Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown stack has worked for me back-to-back championships in one league, so I would imagine it's probably going to do the same this. It's a nasty stack.
Last year? It worked for you last year?
Yeah, back to I
had that stack last year and it didn't work for me.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, back half was weird. But no, I have the Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown stack in a dynasty league with my buddy. We co-commissioned it together, and we've won back-to-back championships with them. But on the other hand, we're lucky because we own another stack.
Right.
So we stayed okay on the back end. But yeah, I mean,
It's hard for me to hide my. I hate stacks in redraft. Best ball, great. Dynasty, that works.
yeah.
Redraft, I can't stand stacks. It
Huh.
just causes more headaches than it's worth.
But it gives you more upside. We're not conversation for a different day.
Right.
All right, let's move on. Zaytoven, Roshan. He's known as the rat in this league.
Hold
Right.
on, hold on.
Always instigates shit and he starts drama.
Not a
We-
rat.
Ryan, we saw him in our chat last year when we were doing this league. He would talk shit about us the entire time.
Oh, I love that guy. What does he have this year? Is he here?
He's been in here a little bit. He seems to be a little,
You
little
calm
nicer.
down. You calm down a
Yeah,
little
a
bit.
little bit. However, he hasn't made the playoffs in 5 years.
Oh.
Really,
All that talk for what? Damn.
well, Hunter says this guy really doesn't give a fuck. He just wants to cause chaos. And that seems like-
I
That's
fuck with
important
this
for the
guy.
league.
Bro, I fuck with this guy.
Well, this is the guy. This is the guy who went and drafted Jared Goff in the 6th round. That's just out of spite.
Bro, I
And he
I'm
took
fucking
and
and he
this
took
And
and he,
Alvin
he
Kamara.
took Kamara. He took Kamara
Second.
in the second.
Ryan,
Was
me
given
and
a
this-
chance to change that and said no.
Ryan, me and this dude would be cool as shit. I fuck with this dude.
Oh, I'm here for the pettiness. I'm here for the
believe
petty.
he was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here or not. We're taking too long for him, but
I know Kamara's not worthy of a second round pick, but can we please not forget the fact that Kamara last year did average over 17 fantasy points per game? Like, Kamara's not fucking
Yeah.
cooked chicken. Please, can we please remember this before we talk?
Yeah, no, I've been trying to get him in most of the drafts that I've been in. Actually,
I got him in the Warrior Bowl and Scott Fish.
nice.
I'm a big fan of Kamara this year.
Yeah, me too.
I've always liked Kamara. See, that's not something I've been behind Alvin Kamara for years now. It's not a secret. It's second round, probably not, but
No, he's not worthy of that.
Can he get you
Jesus
there?
Christ, he's not
Maybe.
big chicken.
yeah,
we do have some
But-
good picks here, though. Justin Jefferson,
sure.
Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs. What do we think about the Texans wide receiver situation this year? It's going to be Diggs. It's going to be Collins. It's going to be Dell. Are they all overpriced? What are we doing?
More best ball related for me. Redraft, I'd stay away from the wide receiver core. To be
I
honest,
think Diggs sees a lot of targets. He always has. He always will.
Yeah, I agree with that. How confident are we in Pat Fryermuth as our tight end 1?
Not at all.
don't ask me that question.
Not at all. And Kate Naughton doesn't offer you much on the bench either, so I think
Yeah,
you're
I
in
was going to say the
situation.
same thing.
Yeah.
So we got Austin Eckler. He's kind of gross. Keon Coleman is gross.
Yeah.
We
Benson,
already
I
talked
like.
about Marshawn Lloyd. I think it's going to be a little while before he gets anything going, but he could be a good handcuff second half of the year, as could Trey Benson, Tyrone Tracy. You could say the same thing. So I like the bench of this team. I could do without Cade Alton. I could do without Brock Purdy as a QB2, even though I think actually he's probably your QB1. Keon Coleman, I'm not a huge fan of, but I'm okay with it. But I do like the backup.
Uh-huh.
Final thoughts on this team?
Oh,
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I would say overall I'm not either.
Yeah. I think James Cook offers some decent upside, but I
I
mean,
do like James Cook.
yeah, James Cook.
We're praising his bench and he auto picked him.
Oh wow, auto picking Benson, nice. Gotta love that.
All right, this guy's going to the bottom of the league. All right, let's move on to the hog
All
crankers.
crankers.
Hog crankers. This guy's first year in the league. He's new, and actually not even just new to the league. This is his first year playing fantasy football. Let's check out his
Oh
team.
my god.
So he
Damn.
started. I mean, he got Patrick Mahomes, so at least he recognizes names. He's like, "Oh, that guy's good." Draft him. Same thing you could probably say about Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill. But he has some nice picks here with Tank Dell. Evan Ingram, I think, is a really nice value at tight end this year. He was the tight end 2 last year, and you drafted him as the tight end 7. I mean, tight end 7, tight end 8. He's going this year typically.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown, they both are in danger of not playing in week 1, but I think overall they'll be decent by the end of the year.
Sure.
Bench, I know we got some Jackson Smith and Jigba fans in this room here. I could do without Dallas Goedert and Cole Kmet. I think Cole Kmet's going to lose his job to Gerald Everett. Spoiler alert. And the bench, other than Kamani Vidal, is gross. We got Kendre Miller. The coaches hate him. He's hurt. John Dotson got traded. Jalen Polk, I think, could have a decent year, but he's still playing with the Patriots. Quarterback situation is questionable. We're going to find out tomorrow who the starter is. I do think it's going to be Jacoby. I really don't know who it's going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be Jacoby Brissett, just because as a Patriots fan, I want, May to not get destroyed by that offensive line.
Yeah.
Drake
Overall
May
thoughts on this team?
I love Drake May, by the way, that you want to bring up Drake May. I do love me some Drake May.
He's going to get destroyed behind that one line.
You're right, but dude, I'm telling you, man, he's going to be good.
He's worth rostering. Once he's playing, he's worth rostering because he's going to run a lot.
I'll be honest with you, man. For being a first-year fantasy player,
It's not terrible.
it's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible. I just want to say you're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say I'm out on Marquise Brown forever for the rest of my life.
Welcome to the club.
Is it because he stacked him with Patrick Mahomes?
No.
Maybe a little
He
bit.
also stacked Tua with Tyreek Hill.
But I think Marquise is just, man, the guy's always hurt. And I know that some of them are rare, like this collarbone thing this year was like kind of a weird thing that happened and everything. But like everybody's like, yeah, man, Marquise Brown's going to finish in the top 15 this year. And I'm like, you better tell his feet because they can't hear you.
I don't know, man. When those feet are healthy, they run fast.
They do but when are they?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I mean,
But at
got
the
Xavier
same
Worthy
time,
as an
I would
opportunity.
just say it would look better to me on paper if you just put Jackson there
Right.
and put Marquise on the bench as a bye-week fill-in.
Well, Marquise Brown looked a lot better about a month and a half ago when he was healthy, before Xavier Worthy started, showing up in training camp, and when Rashee Rice was still in danger of being suspended. Now all those things have flipped, and we got some questions about Marquise Brown.
Yeah, I don't think he did bad. Just one note going forward in fantasy football, and I've considered this about a bunch of teams in this league. If you draft the top quarterback and you have Patrick Mahomes, you don't need Tua. You don't. Just go elsewhere. Other than that, I mean, the flex spots is tough. Like you're probably
You also don't need 2 backup tight ends.
Yeah, you're probably starting JSN and then somebody rough. I mean, I don't know if Hopkins is going to be there for the start of the season. I think start of the season is going to be tough for those flex spots. But Tyreek Hill, huge. Henry, huge. Mahomes, huge.
Well, he needs to move Kendre Miller to the IR spot.
Yeah.
And then, he can drop one of those tight ends or one of the other guys that are not so good to fill his defense and his kicker. So,
All right. So this guy was a new league member, as is the next team, Marvin's Marvels. This is our last team. We made it to the end.
Woo!
So he's a new member. He's Nikki's old roommate. And he drafted Lamar Jackson. He drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. He drafted Travis Etienne. Marvin Harrison Jr. is his wide receiver 1. How do we feel about Marvin Harrison Jr. rookie season, wide receiver 1 on this team? We feel good?
Not only that, he went 7th overall.
Okay.
Which is
that's a little
I've seen him go yet.
Yeah, that's a little much for me. I think
That's the highest I've seen him go.
Yeah.
But Marvin Harrison Jr., thumbs up. Love him.
However, he
At
didn't draft.
7th
I don't
overall.
think he drafted another wide receiver for about 15 rounds because his next wide receiver is Jordan Addison,
Yeah, that's rough.
Jeez.
and it's Jerry Jeudy. He has Roma Dunze. I think we're going to move Roma Dunze to the starting lineup pretty quickly here. Michael Wilson, I like as a deep sleeper. Not sure if I'm rostering him in redraft though. Brandon Cooks, Darnell Mooney. You could say the same thing about them. What do we think about this team?
I'll be honest with you.
I told Steve this when we were talking about these teams. We going over them before. I think once you get past Lamar, Jameer, Etienne, and Harrison, this team's a little bit of a disaster.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
I mean, you have some upside in Roma Dunze on the bench. I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah,
but I mean, outside of those four, it's kind of tough, man.
I think the same thing you talked about with another team. You take Lamar Jackson super high. You probably draft him like the 4th round. And then you're also following it up with Dak Prescott about 4 rounds later. Probably not the optimal way to build your team.
Yeah.
I do like a Dunze. I think
Right.
we're going to move him to the starting lineup.
Yeah, get Jerry Judy out of there, man. Stop.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, come on. That ship has
not-
sailed
I'm
long
not-
ago.
I'm not buying Mooney or Herbert either.
No.
No. Yeah, no.
Do you
I like
a
Mooney. I like Mooney
Dunze?
in best ball.
Do you
I
like a
don't really like
Dunze
him
in
there.
the 5th round?
Yes. That's
Do you like
about
a Dunze in the 5th
borderline where I would take him. Yes, I think he is going to significantly exceed expectations. I feel more comfortable with him in like the 6th, 7th round, but I am not going to argue in the 5th.
I don't know, man.
I don't like him as my wide receiver too, though.
This
I
guy's
would've
got to
taken-
be. He's got to be all over the waivers this season.
For sure.
Yeah, like
Has
before
to be.
week 1.
Also, too, I want people to realize how historically bad Njoku is with Deshaun Watson
Yep.
and how great he was with Joe Flacco.
Thank you.
In the 6th round, I am not drafting David Njoku. I have David Njoku as a do not draft. To be honest.
Me too.
I'm just being honest with you. He looks
Here's our
horrendous.
sell and tight ends list. I know Alex
looks-
really likes him over there, but
He looks horrendous with Deshaun Watson. I
Yeah,
we've seen
Deshaun Watson doesn't even throw to him half the time. Like
I
he
know
doesn't even,
Deshaun-
he
yeah,
barely
right.
targets him.
Right, and
Well,
Deshaun
wait.
Watson he's
Just
only played 12
let
games.
the
in
man
2 years.
speak. Let the man speak.
Just wait until we get Jameis Winston to David Njoku starting like week 5. Then we're full go.
As long as they don't trade him.
As long as
Yeah.
they don't have
Yeah,
snow crab
yeah.
legs. As long as they don't have snow crab legs in the press box.
All right. Any last words here about this team?
Yeah, trade Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
To
completely
who?
redo the bench. You know what? Honestly, I might be shopping Lamar Jackson and move Dak because
Stop.
you need a lot more on this team than just what you're going to get in return.
You
for Dak.
need a flex spot. Let's be
Yeah.
real.
You need a
Shop
wide
them
out.
all.
Yeah,
Shop
you need
them.
receivers.
That's fine.
All right. So who do we think is going to win this league?
Honestly,
Sorry.
we'll go with John. Legal
Yeah.
cheaters.
It's tight for me. I think as long as his running backs stay healthy, it's going to be tough to take West down.
I want to say Hunter because I like his starting lineup, but it gets real shallow after that. I'm going to go with Silence of the Lamb.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
I think I'm going to go with a little bit of a dark horse here. We had him on the show. Karthik. I need an RB2. So I think he executed the 0 RB strategy pretty solidly.
He did.
I don't know what's going to happen with Caleb Williams. I think he'll have a good year, but I think he'll be just fine for fantasy football. That borderline QB1, QB2 area. But I love the wide receivers. I'm on Ross St. Brown. If Puka Nacua can be 85% of what he was last year, I think he's going to be excellent as your wide receiver too.
Sure.
Drake London, I expect him to break out. Jalen Waddle, I think he's going to have a huge year. Best year of his career I think is coming for Jalen Waddle. Mark Andrews, solid top 3 tight end every year. And we got the bench. Get rid of Xavier Legette. Get rid of Antonio Gibson. Get rid of Josh Downs. By week 3, it's going to happen. He's going to be on your waiver wire. But I do like Charbonnet, Chase Brown, Jalen Warren. I think one of them could end up being, solid RB2 starter for you down the stretch at least. And then I think, what was the team with Jared Goff? I think he's going to be the worst team in the league. Any last thoughts?
Hold on, let me do some digging.
I just want to say we effectively talked about the first 3 teams in 55 minutes. We knocked the other 9 out in less than an hour. So
we told them we were going to do like 5 to 10 minutes with them, and we did like 25 minutes each.
Dude, we got stuck on Homeboy, dude. I think he was on for like 25 minutes, which I didn't hate it, but like I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, but all 3 of them were fantastic. We had
they really were.
At the end of the year last year, we did a show with like this giant tournament of people, and a bunch of them came on. The whole show was guests. Some of them were really bad, but the guys who came on tonight were fantastic.
They were great. Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. Steve, my boy down there, going through it.
I gotta be up at 4 a.m. I'm going to Arizona.
Oh no!
I stuck through, baby. That's what we do.
Oh, we appreciate you doing it for us. I don't know if I'm still in here or not because my internet is going crazy.
You're still here.
You're still
All
good.
right. Well,
I like the fact that we chose 4 different teams. It'll be interested to see who's closest or who's right.
Don't let us down. Don't let us down.
Come on, Wes.
Come on, Chris.
Come on,
Hold
John.
the horse
Let's get it,
down.
baby.
All right. Thanks for ordering this show, guys. Maybe we'll do a follow-up later in the year, and have a good night.
Holy fuck, I'm out of here.